We got another one here from Wallace. I know you'll like this one. He wants to know, what are your thoughts on how Ernie Ladd would have done as an NWA world champion? Boy, that would have been breaking a lot of barriers. He would have been the first black champion, and I don't
Yeah.
think the NWA had one. What do you think? Could Ernie have carried the load in that era?
If it happened when Ernie was younger, in his 20s or early 30s, I think he could have done it. However, if it happened after that, Ernie's knees were just hollow. I don't know how many knee surgeries he had, but he had double digits. He couldn't have stood up to the challenge of going on the road, flying every day. He couldn't have done what Flair did. Not with his. He might have been able to pull it off, but you got to remember he's 6'9", so any way he travels is going to be uncomfortable. And the champion traveled a lot by plane, and Ernie made it in the territories because he could travel by car and stretch out his legs. Cowboy bought him a Lincoln Continental, 4-door Lincoln Continental, so he could stretch out. Because he'd come to TV all stoved up and messed up, and that was the tail end of his working as a heel. He was working as a heel to help get JYD over, because they could cut a promo that was not anywhere near politically correct. And if it hadn't been two African Americans delivering the lines, I'm sure we'd have got our ass in trouble. So Ernie would have been a young Ernie had a shot at it. Older Ernie, no shot at all.
We got another question here from Jake. He wants to know, if an average big card has 8 matches, how many gimmick matches should you have? Even if every gimmick is vastly different from others, can you have too many, Jim?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you want to protect the gimmick scenario, the gimmick situation, you don't have tons of them. On a pay-per-view card, you might have 2. I said might. So maybe 2. For me, if I was booking it, probably 1. And that way it adds more to the gimmick match that's on the card, because there's not a lot of similarities. It's different. It's a let me up, that type thing. So I believe that that's the way to go on that deal, because you want to protect every match on the card. And that's why you got to talk to your talents about what the main event's going to do. If the main event's getting blood, you don't want to get blood in match 2, 3, or 4, or 5, or whatever. You just don't. And a lot of guys think that, well, that's going to screw me up. Well, tough shit. Work harder, get in the main event. We ain't doing it. Let's go have it. Let's go execute. And so that's how I'd book it. 8, and of course on AEW pay-per-views we have generally more than 8 matches, right, Conrad?
Oh man, I mean, there was so much wrestling the other night. I mean, it felt like, and that's one of the things you can always count on with AEW pay-per-view. They're going to overwhelm you with value. If you're looking for great wrestling, look no further than an AEW pay-per-view, because you're going to have an embarrassment of riches when it comes to great wrestling matches. I don't know how many there were the other night, but I mean, I know we've seen some AEW pay-per-views that had like 12 or 14 matches in a show.
It might be too many. It might be too many.
Well, perhaps. I mean, if you're looking to overdose on great wrestling, there it is.
Cost it not a dime. Looking's free.
Aaron has a great question for you, and I'm sure you've answered this 1,000 times, but I don't know the answer right off the top of my head. Jim, what's your favorite WrestleMania match that you've called? Because you've called them all, man.
Boy, that's a tough one, because it's like saying which of your kids is your favorite. I got 2 lovely daughters. I'll see at Christmas time. We're going to have Christmas in Norman with my kids, which is going to be a first for a while, because everybody's got it. They get older.
Yeah.
And they got an itinerary. They got friends. They got in-laws, and all these things complicate the situation. So anyway, I got 2 great daughters, and I'm going to see them at Christmas time. So that's going to be cool. What was your question?
Your favorite WrestleMania?
Favorite WrestleMania match. Man, I have a hard time moving away from WrestleMania 13 and Austin and Brett because of all they accomplished in the match. turning the most beloved babyface heel, turning the most hated heel babyface, was a tremendous accomplishment. Austin's blood was right amount, right time. Some of the visuals on TV were so memorable. So that would be one for sure, without a doubt. I had a kind of an obscure one. I can't remember who was involved in the damn thing, which sounds ridiculous for me to say, but it was a 60-minute match in England. I think it featured John Cena and maybe Shawn Michaels. You could have Bull look that up, but I think that's accurate. That was a phenomenal match. And it was UK only show, I think. I'm not sure, but I think. So maybe somebody out there's listening to us live could help us out there a little bit. We'll take your text, right, Conrad, or your tweet or whatever the fuck.
Absolutely.
And so anyway, that was one that I would definitely put on my list. Undertaker and Shawn had one in Phoenix because the three of us drank a couple bottles of Jack Daniels, which I hate, after the match at their they had a area roped off, and Undertaker had his trailer or bus. Shawn had his bus, and they kind of made a little compound. We had a security guard standing outside that didn't let anybody in, and I had the greatest fellowship that I've probably ever had with two guys, Taker and Shawn. So, but Conrad, that question is hard to answer because I've been around so fucking long, and I called them all. And when I named some, and obviously you're going to leave some out, then don't take that as a sign I didn't like that match.
Right.
So but Austin and Brett always pop into my mind when that question is asked of me.
Me too.
Because of what they accomplished. They had a finish, Brett goes over, but what happened at the end? What did they process? What information did they process? Well, hell, they changed roles, and they had a little color, and Brett leading the way, and Steve, the heel normally leads the match, but I would imagine that Steve interjected his stuff, but that he let Brett have the reins to the Sooner Schooner.